Good morning, St. Francis, and good morning, people of God. It is Friday, the 9th day of September, 2022, Friday of the 23rd week of the year, the 23rd week in Ordinary Time. Also today, the memorial of St. Peter Claver, the great Dominican missionary to South America, especially to Colombia, where he's the patron saint of Colombia. Also, his missionary work there with the enslaved peoples who were there, and because of that work, he has become a patron saint for African-American peoples here in the United States. We also remember today the fact that Elizabeth, Queen of Great Britain, has passed unto God yesterday, and so remember her, remember all of those who are affected by her passing. Remember as Great Britain moves into now all the pageantry and the rituals that will accompany her funeral, as well as in the coronation of Charles III. So all of that kind of being foremost in many people's minds and on the news, all over the place. So remember her for the work that she was able to do. Again, human being like everybody else, mistakes were made, and there still are mistakes that perhaps are lingering. But again, she tried to remain constant, and she tried to remain authentic and committed to what was her role within not only the monarchy, but also within the life and welfare of Great Britain. So on this day in which we remember St. Peter Claver, we continue with Paul's letter to the Corinthians, in which, again, he speaks that great line about wanting to be all things to all people. Again, expressive of Paul's vanity, perhaps, and his ego, like many other things in the letters that Paul writes are expressive, but also, again, showing the necessity of his desire, wanting faith to be something that's real, faith that's something that's authentic, faith that is something that is relevant, something that is relevant and important and practical and actual here and now. Because this is where salvation begins, in this good earth, which we have to remember is good. If it was not good, we would not be here. And so the reality of this good earth being a place, again, where God demonstrates and shows us the wonder and glory of not only who God is, but the wonder and glory of who we are. And that Jesus' mission and ministry was to open that up to us. And so Paul's desire to wanting to make that real in people's lives. Salvation begins here, redemption begins here, the experience of God begins here. And many times, because through the work of our own actions, through our own words, through what it is that we are and be in this world, and to remember that. And so again, Paul's great desire to try to convince and try to persuade and try to bring as many people into this great work that God has continued to do and is always doing in our lives, that Jesus of Nazareth brings to a fulfillment and that Paul carries on. In the gospel in Luke today, again, a gospel that is repeated in many of the other synoptics, basically about, again, equanimity and reciprocity. Is that if we want to help each other become the best person that we are, we have to make sure that we are the best person that we are. Again, the whole idea about noticing a splinter in someone else's eye without recognizing the beam in our own eye. Many times, again, our church is very, very good at pointing out mistakes that human beings make all the time, and how terrible some elements of humanity are, and how wrong it is, etc., without really ever acknowledging the fact that the church can be exceedingly wrong, can do all kinds of things wrong, can bring a lot of woe, a lot of harm, a lot of hurt onto people's lives. Again, it is not a one-way street when it comes to us living out what it means to be people of faith. It is not just some professional people setting themselves up to tell people this is what you have to do or else. It is always about equanimity. It is always about reciprocity. It is always about mutuality. It is always about accompanying and journeying with each other on this road of experience of God, of seeking God, of understanding who and what God is for us. It is why God becomes one of us, to journey with us along the times and paths of life. God does not want to separate himself from our experience, nor should we separate each other from the experiences that we live through and that we experience in our lives day by day. And may the Lord give you his peace.